Oh ja, ik weet het alweer. Oké, dingetje geüpdate. Oké, zoals ik zei, welkom in Las Vegas, waar wij de moorden gaan onderzoeken. Ik vind dit spel zo leuk. En ik ben ook wel aardig fair. More fun than a barrel of corpses. En volgens mij hebben ze het... even kijken.
I think we can get much more than an interrogation, but that's a good place to start. Solid work, guys.
Waar is mijn drinken nou? Wacht even, 1 seconde. Volgens mij heb ik mijn glas in de keuken laten staan. Okay, Viva Las Vegas.
No, but I was before last week when he got paranoid about his wife finding out. Typical of the breed, you know.
Dank je, ik zie hem.
Weasels back to wifey. Now I don't exist to him. Who cares?
Last week, you say? That's about the time the doc's spare truck key did a David Copperfield and vanished.
I'm sure that would be fascinating to someone who gave a damn.
Ik zal jullie eventjes een reconstructie laten zien van de tot nu toe gebeurde evenementen.
These stains. Could be she picked them up from something inside the barrel. But they also could have gotten there when she first hit the ground. Or maybe she was dragged, pulled along, through the dirt, or whatever else she was lying in.
We hebben het lichaam van een meisje gevonden, opgesloten in een vat. Bij de loading dock van een of andere circus casino. En het is de dochter van de burgemeester. Dus alle ogen op ons gericht, maar we mogen niet bij ze thuis kijken.
Did a nasal swab. Pollen present.
We know the tissue our victim used had maxamine on it. So whoever wanted Sophia dead sprinkles the tissue with the drug and makes sure she uses it. Walking through the garden, Sophia's allergies kick in big time. She's thrown into acute anaphylactic shock as the histamines flood through her bloodstream. In seconds, she's dead. They follow Sophia in the gardens and wait. Before they know it, their prey passes out. They toss her in the back of the truck and drive her lifeless body to the casino loading bay. There, they slide her body off the bed and into a barrel.
Dus, dat is er tot nu toe gebeurd. En we zijn nou mensen aan het ondervragen.
He scribbled, I read his lousy writing, filled his prescription, he picked it up. I saw it parked outside the hospital last week.
Nothing unusual about it?
It's a pickup truck. It wasn't the Rose Bowl float. Well, there was some scuffing in the back, dented even. Maybe he'd been hauling firewood or something.
Interesting you should bring that up.
And I'm sure you'll tell me why.
Dr. Wilkinson ordered that load of firewood 2 days ago.
This is so fascinating. I'm starting to wish I took notes.
You see, Lita, only somebody who'd seen that truck very recently would know about those scuffs and dents. Maybe somebody who used the truck to haul something heavy. A body in a barrel, say?
You're crazy. Do I look like a killer to you?
You're starting to.
Sure. Knock yourself out.
Thank you. Oké, volgende.
Yes? No problem. He was playing doctor with Sophia, and his truck was at the gardens. Let's do it. Dr. Wilkinson, we're looking at the evidence and seeing a big arrow pointing in your direction.
Make it easier on everyone, and yourself included, and just level with us. What do you say, Doc?
She was a beautiful young woman, and she flattered me. Ever hear of a midlife crisis? She was mine. My wife found out, and I realized how foolish I'd been and broke it off with a girl. I didn't tell you because of how it looked.
And how does it look now?
I know I didn't kill the girl. She just didn't mean that much to me, frankly.
The evidence tells a different story, Doctor.
Het was zijn truck.
What? Are you saying... Was Sophia's body in my truck? That's not possible. What kind of a frame-up is this anyway? It's outrageous. You know about that, do you? Okay, so I have a roving eye, and maybe the rest roves along too sometimes. That doesn't mean I killed anybody. But, look, keep this from my wife, would you?
Ik denk niet dat zijn vrouw het gedaan heeft. Want als dat zo is, dan zou zij toch eerder hem vermoorden dan haar rivalen.
Of course. Haven't I been straight with you here? I'm trying to cooperate. Ask anybody. I take my civic responsibilities very seriously.
Sure. Thank you. Oké, laatste. Vrouw van de dokter.
Yes? Well, she had access to this truck. She didn't love the victim and didn't seem terribly surprised about the murder. A judge will okay bringing her in. Mrs. Wilkinson, you were not the biggest fan of our murder victim.
And the details of the crime indicate you may have been involved in the murder.
What an outrageous, ludicrous spectacle you people are making of yourselves. Oh, let me see. I believe it was... Oh, yes, that's right. Never.
You've never driven it. Your husband says you have a spare set of keys.
I do, but I couldn't drive it if my life depended on it. It's a stick shift, and I'm strictly an automatic female. No, can't say I have. And she wouldn't be another one of Edward's little chippies, would she? If so, she's free to get herself murdered too, as far as I'm concerned. Why, certainly. Anything I can do to help the forces of justice in their efforts to disrupt our lives, trample our good reputation, and violate our privacy.
What do you need? And we have a winner. Lita's DNA matches the hair found in the tissue.
Oeh. Auw, pijnlijk.
The doctor is out. Hair from the tissue package doesn't match the guy. Not a match. Hair from the tissue is not Mrs. Wilkinson's.
Oeh.
Sorry. Can't do anything with that. Sorry. Can't do anything with that.
Ik wil deze ook gekleurd hebben.
It's a perfect match to the tracks from the garden. The doc, or the doc's truck that is, has spent some time here recently. They follow Sophia in the gardens and wait. Before they know it, their prey passes out. They toss her in the back of the truck and drive her lifeless body to the casino loading bay. There, they slide her body off the bed and into a barrel.
Maar er klopt nog iets niet.
All season tires from Wilkinson's truck. Not a big surprise. They follow Sophia in the gardens and wait.
Dank je. klopt nog iets niet. Waar had zij de sleutels van? Vandaan bedoel ik. Nee, dat klopt nog iets niet.
Yes? I think we can get much more than an interrogation, but that's a good place to start. Solid work, guys.
Nee, het klopt nog niet.
Which you seem to find meaningful. I don't.
It's meaningful, all right. Meaning you had access to the truck and to the tissue that killed Sophia Benedetti, and you even had a motive.
If I had a grudge, and I don't, it wouldn't be with that little slut.
That's right. Your grudge was with the doctor, not his rich girl patient.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it went something like this. That was an opportunity you were prepared for. You already forged the Maximine order in Wilkinson's name and sprinkled some of the stuff on a tissue packet, unaware a tiny hair of yours had drifted down onto one of them.
The day Sophia went to the gardens, you gave her the package of tissues. She thinks you're being nice, but really you've just signed her death sentence.
You leave the pharmacy and go out to Wilkinson's and borrow the truck. You know he and his missus are on their weekly grocery trip.
Just a matter of time, right? Before Sophia's allergies kicked in. She'd wipe or blow her nose with one of those deadly tissues.
You were right there and waiting, ready when she collapsed. And you drove over and slid her up on the truck bed and into the barrel.
The drop-off at the casino didn't take long, and no one noticed as vehicles were coming and going.
The truck was back in the garage before the Wilkinsons could even know it was missing.
You're a smug pair, aren't you?
You killed a young woman just to get back at your ex-lover. What's more smug than that?
Stop. I'll bust out crying.
Can I get you a tissue?
Good job. Another sicko off the streets. Strange, though. I don't get why she tipped us about that body to begin with. It almost feels like she was playing with us somehow. Anyway. Well, rookie, Grissom's still out in the field, so I'll do your review on this case. Hey, good job. Couple of things you skipped over, but otherwise decent.
Nice. Oké. Dus we gaan naar de volgende zaak. Lida's Swansong. Ik hoop dat jullie het nog steeds een beetje naar je zin hebben. I do. Let's go.
We haven't heard from Grissom since he went out to Desert Gardens. His cell phone's down. He hasn't checked in. Gil can be eccentric, but frankly, this has me worried. On top of which, Lita Callisto has been making some oddball remarks about Grissom to the guards at the jail. You helped nail Lita, so this is your case. Yours and Catherine's. She's got the tenure and experience you can lean on. Now, either start with the Desert Gardens, or go to Lita's apartment. We need to find out more about the enigmatic Miss Callisto, and we need to find Gil Grissom. Period.
Okay.
We've run her, found no priors, not even a damn speeding ticket. Check her apartment. Maybe you'll come up with more than we did. For what little good it did, yes. She's recently used an acid-based compound to burn off the core ridge details of her fingers. No unique scarring, either. Best we got out of her is partial, so naturally Aphis spit him. She keeps dropping cute, oblique hints that don't add up to anything much. Just enough to amuse herself. My gut says, that witch knows plenty.
Ah, it's the geniuses of CSI. Missing something? Mislay someone? Please, let me know what I can do to be of assistance.
It's too bad you're not serious, because that might help your situation.
I'm enjoying my situation. I'm content in my own company, and my needs are simple. And as for entertainment, I can picture your frantic efforts to recover your fearless leader. That's quite sufficient to pleasantly pass the time.
You may not have that much. Nevada has the death penalty. You might consider cooperating.
You know, I could tell you, but I have far too much consideration for your position. You see, if people like me just went around admitting things, you'd be out of a job. Well, I didn't kill him. Yet. Wouldn't it be interesting, though, if you could sit in a cell like this and still murder someone miles away?
Ah, hex!
I would never spoil the theory you worked so hard to develop. It's like when a child does a finger painting, you don't point out the deficiencies. It's unkind.
Ah, hex dat je er bent.
Whoa, a lot of stuff in here. Let's get started.
Dit zegt me dat we een lijk gaan vinden.
Would appear Lita was rather selectively getting rid of certain papers. Burned badly. Can't make out anything it said.
Ik kan een paar dingen zien. Even kijken.
We can't use that here. There's no prints here. There's nothing special there. There's no prints here.
Tja. Oké.
One looks like a car key, but the other just can't be sure. Some worn down markings on it, but can't make out what it said. There's no prints here.
Oké. Twee setjes met sleutels. Ik hoop dat jullie het allemaal nog een beetje meekrijgen.
Old photo album. Story of somebody's life. Looks like something used to be under here. Traces of the image bled onto the laminate. Newspaper clipping, maybe. Try using a similar tool. Greg should be able to analyze this. Maybe even enhance the image. Greasy substance smeared. Cap shut tight on a bottle of unidentified.
Oké, dus ik denk dat ze... Oh, ik
It's
zie...
got one of those prepaid phone cards you get at convenience stores. Didn't Lita make a call after dropping the Benedetti woman's body off?
Ja, maar dat was bij een phonecel. Hey, fingerprints. Het zegt me dat dat niet de haren
It's
zijn.
worth lifting. Phones don't get cleaned, and there's always overlapping prints. Can't pull enough points for proper comparison. Catherine Willow's Las Vegas crime lab. My associate was out here earlier, you'll recall. We're continuing our investigation, and we have some questions.
Who knows? Maybe I'll have some answers.
Ground's a little soft here. Wet. Underground sprinklers must have come on recently.
Oké.
These look like fresh tire tracks to you? Wide, like a truck's. And Lita used a truck before. We can't use that here. Try using a similar tool. Try using a similar tool. Notice how the tread's been compromised? Whoever peeled out of here must have been in a hurry. Loose dirt was thrown back over their own tread marks.
Hmm.
What evidence? I didn't call anybody. I sure didn't call the cops.
A call wasn't placed from here to our crime lab less than a half an hour ago.
Lady, our staff went home after you people wrapped up that other investigation. I'm the only one still working. You're looking at the only nightcrawler left in this garden.
Hmm.
No, been real quiet. Few drive-thrus, few pedestrians strolling by. Nothing unusual. No, ma'am. You know, once it starts getting dark, you don't get a very good look at people coming around here. Sometimes you don't wanna. Afraid not. Wish I could have helped you out some more.
Let's see if anything new has been added around here that might give us a lead on what happened to Gil.
Hey, heb je het nog steeds een beetje naar je zin?
Grissom would be right at home with these creepy crawlies.
Lekker.
Got an impact here. We can't use that here. We can't use that here. There's no prints here. Tiny traces of paint, based on height and proximity to the road. Vehicle impact, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. The small details that makes the difference. Hey.
We got a code red, Greg. Grissom's gone missing, possibly abducted.
Okay, Kath. Everything else goes on the back burner. I won't be happy till Grissom's standing there humiliating me again. This key matches the type used by a few truck manufacturers. That's all I can tell you about it.
Ah, dat is goed.
The markings on the key were worn down, but I...
Nou, wat zei die nou?
The laminate bore traces of newspaper ink, transferred from the article that used to be underneath it. I enhanced the image and found a wedding photo. And guess who was the blushing bride?
Lita.
Oh yeah, our Looney Tunes killer, on her way to her honeymoon. Somebody was a lucky guy, huh?
No man was living in that apartment, so we can assume a breakup. But Callisto may be Lita's married name.
Lucky for you, you didn't open this up and catch a whiff. Chloroform.
Enough missing to knock somebody out?
Absolutely. Once inhaled, the chemical enters the bloodstream through the lungs, unaltered by the liver, reaches the brain in seconds, and it's sleepy time. This is one of those prepaid cell phones. No way to check the owner, and the memory was cleared. Software recovery tools came up with a big fat goose egg.
Lekker.
Even Gil Grissom would keep his distance from these bugs. What we have here is a blowfly larva with a taste for living flesh. Cochleomia hominivorax, the human eater.
Vleesetende vlieg.
The 150 or so people killed by him over the years would say so. But these things are uncommon. Eradicated in the States back in the 50s, though you can still turn them up in Mexico and points farther south.
Anybody studying or researching them around here you know of?
Not in Vegas, nowhere recently. University of Nebraska a couple years back did some cryopreservation research. See how long you could freeze the larva without killing them. Not what I'd keep in the kitchen freezer.
Lekker. Smakelijk.
By stabilizing the charred remains of the document with the Parylene polymer treatment, I could run latent lifting processes on it without destroying the ashes. It's an apparent suicide note, and get this, written on Champagne Hotel stationery.
Champagne Hotel. As in the Yardstrom case Grissom worked?
None other.
Brass needs to know about this.
Medicated skin cream, calcium gluconate gel, topical antidote to treat hydrofluoric acid burns.
Like someone with access to a pharmacy.
Sorry, can't do anything with that. Automobile paint. Fairly common color, particularly on current truck series.
Lita used Dr. Wilkinson's truck in the Sophia Benedetti case. I'm sure that's no coincidence.
Ik heb nog één spel op het menu staan. En dat is eigenlijk als ik me hier een beetje goed bij voel. En geloof me, jullie gaan die heel leuk vinden en jullie gaan erop willen wachten.
Nothing definitive. We need a better comparison. Size 10, gills.
What can I do for you? Well, she doesn't have a Nevada wedding certificate, but I can do some out-of-state digging. Got her. Murphy. Lita Murphy. Most people come to Vegas to get hitched. She left to do the job. Why not ask me to search all the Jones, Smiths, and Johnsons? Get a little more specific, and maybe I can help you.
Okay.
Sure, I'll get you the prints from the garage you lifted. Those look like the best ones.
Hey guys, what's up?
Yes!
Okay, now we have a match. Wilkinson's truck made a return trip to the scene of the crime. Okay. How about a workable theory about what's become of Gil?
Well, after Lita was questioned at the pharmacy, Grissom got his invite out to the gardens.
Right. So even in the first interview, Lita figured we were on to her. Pretending to work at the gardens, she calls Gil, reports new evidence to perk his interest. She borrows Wilkinson's truck, lays in some of these flesh-eating bugs, and parks in the gardens. Waits out of sight. When Gil arrives, he spots the truck, checks it out, spots the insects, and has a typically Grissom closer look. Lita, dressed like a worker maybe, chloroforms him from behind. There's a struggle. A few bugs get jostled from the truck. Lita holds her rag over Gil's face till he's out.
Oh, dit gaat leuk worden. Oké. En ik denk dat het een goed moment is om daarmee deze zaak even op een laag pitje te zetten. Om jullie ook een beetje in spanning te houden. Dat vind ik wel leuk. Dus ik zeg dat we naar het laatste spel van vandaag gaan. Even kijken. Main menu.